Hello, and welcome to Twin Peaking, where I show my friend Jay Kirsten Twin Peaks in order of my least favorite to favorite episodes, and we see if she can figure out what Twin Peaks is about. If you find yourself enjoying the show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And that includes to Jay Kirsten at twitch.tv/JKIRSTYN. That'll also be in the description below. Without further ado, let's get started. Hey Jay, how's it going?
Hi. Good.
Yeah. So now that we're editing it the specific way because of DMCA, we've talked about it before. This is more of an actual intro.
Yeah, true.
Because like the entire time I'm like, oh, we'll kind of get the intro talk out of the way during the reaction bit. No, we don't have that anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, how's it going? What are you up to?
Good. I got my notebook ready. I got my juice. And then
what kind of juice?
I'm ready. Strawberry kiwi juice.
Oh fuck, that sounds so good, man.
Mm-hmm,
I want.
It's delicious.
I'm jealous. I mean, I have hot chocolate, so I'm not too jealous actually. Yeah, so quick story time. I'm actually finishing Twin Peaks tonight with my mom as well. So this is like a big Twin Peaks day.
Okay.
Very short story, not really a story after all. But we've been watching it since like July of last year.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. And so we're finally reaching the end.
Wow.
I know. It's kind of a big deal. She's enjoyed it so far, watching it the normal way.
Yeah.
I was worried she wouldn't because like she came in with like preconceived biases of David Lynch because she hated the Dune movie, which made her think she hated fantasy altogether for like
I see.
my entire life. She's always been like, I don't like that fantasy stuff. I don't like. And now she's getting older and she's actually done some other or like consumed some other stuff. And she's like, this isn't too bad. You know, like I wrote off this entire genre and it turns out I just don't like very specific things. But it was like David Lynch, the person who made her think she hated fantasy for such a long time. And that was like her only point of reference was that Dune movie.
Interesting.
And so like I was really worried where it was like you know, and because David Lynch doesn't typically do fantasy either, and he hates the Dune movie as well, right? He does like surrealist true crime. But yeah, so I was worried because I was like, hey, you know, there's this show, I don't know if you'll like it. She's liked it, but we're about to hit the ending. By the time this comes out, she'll have seen the ending, and like I'm nervous in the way of like it definitely landed the ship for me. I love how this show ends.
Okay.
But you know, if she doesn't, for whatever reason, because you know, hard to predict people's taste where you're like, oh, you're gonna love this, and then they don't, or like you're like, oh, I don't know if you'll like this, and it becomes their favorite thing.
Right.
So I'm like, just please like this. But yeah. So speaking of liking it, let's see how you like this episode. Yeah. How's that for a transition?
Very good. 10 out of 10.
Okay. So.
Okay.
How'd you like this episode? How I start every single one of these. How'd you like this episode?
Okay, I like this episode because it adds context to like scenes I've already watched, which like wouldn't be a problem if we watched it in regular order, but I like this episode. It's like the extra salt and pepper that I needed for the meal to fully understand it. And so yeah, I overall really like this episode.
All right, no, that's good. Anything stand out for you that you enjoyed about the episode before we go scene by scene? Just the big moments.
The interesting thing about, like, I don't know if it's like because this is like the shittiest arc in the show, if it's like this or not, but it's interesting to see certain plot points that I know the ending of, and I mentioned this during us recording, that like they play certain plot lines so seriously when they're first introducing it to us, and then because I know the ending of how like stupid some of these scenes like end up ending, it's like it's just interesting the sudden tone shift and like some of these like in some of these scenes, and knowing what the ending is going to be. It's just like I thought that was very jarring for me. So
yeah.
There's that. Yeah.
I think that's also partially because we're shifting because like a couple episodes ago, what is the earliest you've seen so far, right? The dispute between brothers. Oh,
yes.
How I should start this part of the episode, so I remember to always do it.
Okay.
To finish my thought real quick, was that like we're in the midst of them shifting to what the show they thought was going to be, and then it failed so hard that it got the show canceled.
Right.
So, but like they're shifting into that right now, right? And you can kind of feel that, like, oh, they're brushing up against what the tone used to be versus what they're trying to change it into.
Right.
You know, which stands out. So the thing I should lead with is that this episode, which is season 2, episode 12, is called The Black Widow.
The Black Widow.
Yeah. So what do you make of that title?
The Black Widow. I have to think about that, how that connects to the episode. The Black Widow. That's interesting. Because
I mean, there's one fairly obvious one.
I think it'd be Catherine, right?
No, it's the girl who killed her husband through sex.
Oh, okay.
And then ensorcels everyone else with her sex magic, apparently.
Yeah,
that
okay,
turns out
I
not
guess.
to be sex magic later. It's hormones and hypersexuality. But
because it's interesting, because like that, the Black Widow, like I would associate it with Catherine more because I know that she's going to kill Josie in the end of this, right? And so she's like the secret kind of Black Widow. I think the reason why I didn't think of like that, sexy girl, is because I know that that is a nothing burger storyline. Like literally, it does not go anywhere interesting or anywhere that I care about. And so I've completely written off that storyline off the top of my head. Lucy's reaction to it is interesting. But it ends in like 2 episodes, I think. Like
I think it also kind of sucks what it does to all the male characters in the storyline as well.
I agree. I do agree with that.
It's funny. I just went on a rant about this with Persona 4 Golden. Not to get into spoilers, but like they had a secondary hot spring scene in the Golden arc. And that one sucks, and I hate what it does to the main characters. It makes them culpable in some weird shit that I don't like. Where I feel like, hey, that's not necessarily in their character. It's there as an excuse to give us, the viewer, a chance to fawn on this person, right? Because like from what we know of Hawk, it's not in his character to be like, I'm the guy, and then do a pratfall comedically, right? Like,
I know a bit about these things.
Are you the sheriff?
Hawk, shut the fuck up. We like you. Don't. Like, what are you doing, man?
Oh my god, Hawk, no!
I know. Like that scene is so freaking weird because, like, I guess spoilers for the future. He never does like comedic stuff, or like he does comedic stuff, but he doesn't do like pratfalls like he does there. That's like the one scene where he's like that.
Yes.
And like, as much fun as it is for like Andy and Dick to suddenly shift focus from Lucy to this other girl and have Lucy react to that, but like that doesn't fit in. It doesn't really fit into what we know about Andy. Andy is like hyper committed. To this, right?
Yes.
And so it's like, it sucks for what it does. Like we fucking see Cooper in a couple episodes kind of like weirdly lusting after this girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they're probably closer in age, so like, whatever. But like, we know he keeps hard professional lines, and like, while he doesn't cross any there, it's still weird.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
so, like,
I agree.
yeah, I did. The entire thing just kind of like, if it was going to culminate in like sex magic, that's different than what the show's been.
Right.
As far as you're aware, right? But like if she is a literal witch that's doing magic, at least that would be interesting, actually. But like we find out it's not even that. Like she's not even a witch that does magic in this murder mystery show. She's just hypersexual as a woman, and I guess that makes all the men horny. Like it's like they never met a woman with libido before. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And like, no, we have. All these women are cheating on people because they love to fuck. Like, what are we talking about? You've established that all these women have libido. Why is this woman so different? Twin Peaks is a horny town where everyone's horny.
That's
Why is
so
this
true.
one horny person different?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
Anyways, so
literally
that's my
why
thoughts.
I've written. Yeah, no, that's valid. It's such a nothing burger storyline. Like,
I mean, the
It
ending
leads
part of
nowhere.
it is comedic, but like, it's not worth the payoff, right? Like, if
it's
that
not
scene
worth
by
the payoff.
itself,
Yes.
like
yeah.
if we only got like, oh, they get married, we hear that he died, and then had the final scene of like him coming in with the shotgun and then
Yeah.
falling in love with her, that could be a tiny little comedic story arc that would work okay.
Right.
You'd be a little
Right,
bit weird,
right.
but you'd be like, this is comedic, so we're looking past it. Kind of like the Nadine
Yeah.
thing, right? Where
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
all right, like, are there troubling real world implications of this? Sure, but it's not the real world. It's we're
Yeah,
having fun
exactly.
here.
Yeah.
It could have been that. There's too many scenes, like the scene where Dr. Jacoby comes in and explains that she's hypersexual and like, you know, not very men got the chance to. That's really in my brain right now because like there's a very specific reaction you have as he starts saying that, where you're just like, what? like you look at the camera, you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's so choice. I just edited that episode, so it's in the forefront of my mind.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
funny.
so yeah, it's funny how me editing it so far in the past is bringing up these echoes of things as
Yeah.
well. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's, you know, Black Widow as a title you give a woman is like a younger woman who dates someone older in order to get their inheritance and they die. That is like
okay.
a literal term for that type of thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I guess
So
that makes
someone who
sense in
kills
that
their spouse for
context.
inheritance
Mm,
is, yeah.
okay. I see. Okay. Well, that's good to know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's good to know as a trope, so that if you ever come at it comes fucking words are hard sometimes, huh? If ever comes up for you again as you're reading a thing, you're like, oh, she killed her husband for inheritance. That's a Black Widow. Like, you know, now you can shout that whenever you see it in a movie theater or whatever. This is like Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Any other thoughts before we go scene by scene, or will we excise our demons to go scene by scene?
Yeah, I think we start the scene by scene now.
Okay.
Okay, so the very first scene is Bobby and Mr. Horn, crazy dad. It's in
For just so you know, Reddit says that it is a varied thrush.
Buried Thrush.
Secretary said to come in.
Do you even
Probably
recognize
Briggs.
Ben Horn out of Confederate outfit right now?
Oh, I was about to say this is the dad, right?
Yeah.
Distance.
I wish this is what his breakdown was the entire time. Is stacking stuff and being disheveled. Like, I would watch this all day.
Look. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
A leviathan that rips a hole in the clouds. Now, what's the first question that comes to your mind? The first question that you ask yourself.
Poor Bobby. He doesn't know what to
I mean, how do you
say.
respond to this, especially with the guy you're blackmailing to get a job?
That's why.
I also love this dynamic. I'll try to remember to talk about it later.
Of course I am. Yes.
It's interesting to see. My thoughts are that it's interesting to see where his like Confederate arc starts.
Well, that's not even at this scene though. This scene's where he stacked all of his stuff.
That's
up.
right. Oh yeah, you're right.
And
That's the
Bobby's there,
stacking
and he's
scene.
like slightly off, and is like, "What do you think when you see this?" But he's still able to kind of do business.
Right. Before he's
And-
fully gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And this makes me
just
sad.
interesting. It's sad. I can see the downward spiral from that, but yeah, you're right. And later in the episode, I guess I'll tie the two scenes together because they're so closely associated.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, like, you're right. Like, you can see the downward spiral in the stacking, and then there's the freaking the little creature that he's obsessed with. Later on, the little, what is it called? The weasel or whatever?
The
Is, like,
pine
on
weasel.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pine
that's
weasel.
significantly later. But that's not a
Yeah.
pine weasel. That's like a.
Oh, it's
I think
not?
that's a type of fox or something.
Oh, I thought it was a pine
That's
weasel.
relevant for earlier plot lines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. I thought
yeah.
it was a pine weasel.
No.
Anyway.
I mean, that would have been cool. That would have been cool.
Yeah,
but, you know,
I
they
would've
didn't
been
know they
cool,
were
yeah.
going there at the time.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
I know.
But yeah, seeing like how he turns into the Confederate person.
But he doesn't. It's
is-
just like, it's so weird because there's like no A to B on that. It's just
Yes,
suddenly
there's no,
he's obsessed with
it's
it.
Sudden, yes, exactly. Like it'd be different if like if the Confederate flag was like on like the stacking thing, or it was in the corner, and then like he sees it and suddenly it
Yeah,
breaks
like
something
do a
inside
zoom
him.
in on that.
Like,
and-
yeah,
and, like,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. But it literally does start out of nowhere.
If
It's
you're-
very
okay.
weird.
To be clear, if you're gonna have that plot line at all, I want to pitch something different to you right now.
Okay.
Like, I think this weird in between that he's in, where he's not all there, but he's still able to do business, is really interesting. And seeing how, like it would be so cool to see Bobby and Audrey, how they tackle that, where Bobby is like, so what we know from previous episodes is that he has some type of blackmail. We don't know what yet. He has some kind of
Right.
blackmail on Benjamin Horn, right? And that's how
Right.
Bobby's going to get the job here, right? So Bobby wants the job there, but he still has to butter up to Benjamin Horn because it's not enough blackmail. It seems like to really like just hold him over a barrel. It's enough to get him in the door, right?
Right.
So like it provides this interesting power dynamic between Bobby and Ben that I think would be fun to explore. And that was in that first scene where it was kind of pushing and pulling back and forth, where he's not all there, but
Right.
he's still kind of doing business and is like, go do this for me and I'll pay you. And then, you know,
Right.
Bobby is also like, well, did you see the tape? What are we doing? Like, I think that's an interesting dynamic. And you throw Audrey in there where she's clearly not working with either of them, but instead
Right.
like helping Cooper and doing all this.
Right.
But like
Right.
having those three opposing forces all kind of having to kind of work together and navigate Ben's like mental state would be so much more interesting
It
than
would
this
be more and
Confederate
more
thing I'm
interesting.
playing.
Yeah,
That, like
I agree.
Bobby is weird in the Confederate thing where it's like he's just there to try to get in Audrey's
He's just
pants, and
there.
it's like
Yeah.
that's less cool than him having this drive
I
to
agree.
succeed in a business world. Audrey's just trying to get her dad back because she doesn't know how to run a, and it's like what we've already seen from her is that she's very capable. Have her
Yes.
like learn this stuff on the fly, having to navigate
Right.
that. Like that's interesting stuff to have in
Mhm.
there. And we see little glimpses of it at the start of this episode, and then it suddenly
It
pivots to the
fizzles
Confederate
out.
thing.
It's oh my gosh.
Like
it's
all
so
of their
sad.
dynamics could be interesting. Like I don't even mind Bobby being a little horny fuckwit trying to cheat on his girlfriend. Because that's interesting narrative stuff where like,
Yes.
you know, Audrey's not into it, but she realizes how she can use that, you know?
Right. Right.
Like that's all interesting narratively. Do that.
Right.
You have the
Yeah.
pieces.
But then
And-
they
and then
threw
they
the
throw it
pieces
all
away
away.
and slapped a Confederate flag on top of it and called it a day. That's literally what they did.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Oh
And-
my gosh.
Yeah. And like later from what we've seen, Bobby's in some of those scenes once Ben comes kind of back and is doing the Pine Weasel thing. He's around as like an assistant, but we don't see that dynamic between him and Ben anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
He's
you're
just
right.
in the scenes, not interacting
He's
with
just
Ben.
there.
And I would
Yeah.
love to see Ben and Bobby interact. I think they are both great actors. And like,
Mm-hmm.
could have this really interesting plot.
Yeah. It could have been. It could
So
have been.
so
Mac.
I'm just that makes me hate the later scene more, but it makes me love that opening scene a whole lot because it's so interesting, you know.
It's very interesting. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that scene ends with I didn't realize it was the hypersexualized girl at first. I put girl in wedding dress / running away.
I just love that, like him just being like, okay, and then like the bag getting caught.
Very good. Which one would you like to see first?
As my note of the end of that scene.
It's such a
I
weird,
didn't realize it was her.
I love this because like she's running screaming, but it looks like as she passes Bobby, she's clearly like somewhat faking it, which makes it interesting. Being like and then look and then continues like it's like, you saw me screaming, right? And Bobby has the best reaction to that, which is like, rather than seeing what's up or anything like that, he's like, okay. Just
he's like,
leave and his bag gets caught on the door. It's so good. It's so choice. Love that decision. That's so funny.
Very good. The next scene is Coop and the real estate agent talking about Dead Dog Farm.
I don't remember. Did I tell you that it was her as she ran down the hallway? Or did you figure that out?
No, it was later. It was a later scene that I realized it was her.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that was just a really weird ending scene for you.
It was just really weird. I was like, what is happening there? Like, what is going on?
Oh, that's funny. That's real funny.
So we get the Dead Dog Farm set up. I don't really have notes there, but the thing that was interesting that I wrote the most notes on is the Lucy, Andy, and Dick scene about Nikki and the setup of the foster system.
An orphan, you know.
Really? What happened? Did his parents die?
Nicely deduced. Persistent random misfortune.
They were killed.
How were they killed this way?
Mysterious circumstances. I'm afraid the orphanage has never provided us with that information.
And this is where I noticed that the scene is being played completely straight. Like, it is like, oh, Nikki, like that's when the music kind of turns a little bit like dark and like talking about Nikki and how his parents died, and like, oh, there's this mystery of like how Nikki's parents died, and like no one knows how his parents died, and it's just like an interesting thing. And it's just like, it's just so interesting to me that they play it so straight, and then the culmination of that plot line is one of the most funniest storylines that we've seen in the show so far, of like Andy and Dick going to the foster center
right
and going, and so it's so weird how it's set up, and like, oh, there's like this
those
mystery.
Two, like, crying at his backstory together as they weep openly, like
exactly.
Yeah. And this is how it starts. Yeah,
100%. It's very jarring to me that is, and a lot of like the two main storylines of the sexual girl and that storyline both start off that way, of like the first interaction we hear of like the mayor and his brother is like at a freaking funeral, and they're fighting at the funeral or the wake. And then it's just it's a weird, it's an interesting choice. It's very interesting why it's played that way. I don't know if if I was watching it in order and I saw this play out in front of me, I can see why that would turn me off from the show, because you're starting to introduce like, you know, an interesting storyline, and then, it's played off as a joke, essentially, at the end of it. Like, why would I be invested in anything as a watcher? You know, I can see why.
I don't know. You kind of hit on a point there that I want to applaud you for. That I don't want to get too deep into, because of spoilers. So I'm trying to see how to navigate that. But like, you're absolutely correct, and I kind of brought it up earlier as well. Of like, this sense of what the show used to be to what it is. That's not to say there wasn't like comedy scenes in earlier episodes, but like a lot of the stuff, as you can kind of feel as we're going earlier, was treated with like weight and seriousness when it needed to be, that we're not seeing as it goes later.
Right.
And so like I think that's where this huge disconnect comes from, and we're kind of in the middle of that transition.
Okay.
And so like which is tough, but the things that work in this episode I like, so that's why it's higher. But like this is definitely a growing pains episode into what it's going to be, which is where we started. Not that bad if you don't know that it doesn't treat anything seriously. Or like you think it doesn't treat anything seriously and it's all like either high drama or comedy, then you're kind of like, oh yeah, these aren't too bad. Once you realize that it used to treat things seriously and now it's not, you're kind of like, well, that doesn't send a good message.
Yeah. As a side tangent, I think that the way we're watching this is an excellent way to like experience these storylines, because like now I'm getting the pieces that I was missing, and I'm like, oh, like it's so interesting to see how this plays out and how it's introduced to me, specifically watching it this way. And so I think it's great, but if you're regularly watching it, it's not.
Okay, this is a discussion for when we get to the end, but it would be fun to have like a bonus episode or something where like rather than worst to best, we try to pick out the best way to watch it out of order. You know, of like, what's a good point to introduce this? What's a good point to introduce this, rather than worst to best, and come up with our own bespoke Haruhi Suzumiya watch order. That may be a fun thing to do once we're done with this.
That could be a fun episode,
yeah.
That'd be cool.
We won't remember this in a year from now when we're actually done, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next scene here.
Please.
The next scene is Andy and Harry investigating the what's his name?
Oh fuck.
What?
Okay. Couple scenes ago. No. Last scene. Dead Dog Farm investigation.
Yes.
During that part, I wanted to point out something that like bothers me about this entire episode.
Oh, okay.
And will just be like a default button I push on a bunch of scenes and then not talk about. So this is gonna cover a lot of stuff.
Okay.
This episode is so overwritten.
Uh-oh. Okay, explain.
You have a lot of people who come up and do some monologue about spirituality or whatever. Like during the Dead Dog Farm thing, it's like some people, dead dogs. Oh, I think this is actually a little bit later, but like people will show up and be like, the random person trying to sell Cooper a property, right? She's like, dead dogs attract good people and bad people. Good people can bear to look at it and help. And
I see what you're saying. Dead Dog Farm.
Would you live in a place called Dead Dog Farm if it was nicer than this?
It depends on how much it is. Like if it was like
5K,
you know. Sure.
Well, still standing, almost by force of habit.
Like reasonable priced property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead Dog Farm.
Also, it'd probably have a lot of land and back, huh?
Right.
Most turn away. Only those with the purest of heart can feel its pain. Somewhere in between, the rest of us struggle.
There's so much of that in this episode where it feels like they're trying to do. I think this falls into that growing pains thing where like David Lynch, Mark Frost have stepped away. Harley Payton and who's the other writer? Oh no, I want to blame both of them. It feels so bad to just blame one person. But like it feels like they're like, oh, we have this thing that is taken seriously, and so they tried to do serious and realize it's not working for them. And this is the one where it feels like they realize like, oh, we overwrote this. You know, we're being
I feel you.
It's too much, right? And then that's why they pivot to comedy, is because they're like, okay, we failed at being serious about this. Let's make this comedic, which I don't think is a bad turn by itself. But then it erases the weight of what came before. But like, yeah, it's so overwritten in so many of the scenes, and like, as we say them, that's probably all I'll say about it, because there's nothing else in those scenes besides them just like a lot of scenes are like almost doubled in length because they're just like trying to be so
right.
Yeah. So
yeah. I agree. The thing that is I think like you hit on with like the dead dog farm. I'm gonna combine like the two scenes together.
We're kind of doing that already.
We're kind of jumping around anyway, so we'll do that. Okay,
they're related plot lines, so it's okay.
Exactly. So when Coop is first talking to the real estate lady, and she's like, "Flip a coin, and the coin will tell you where." I don't remember exactly which she said something that I just excused as a throwaway line.
Yeah.
I don't remember, like the energy. Blah, 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 something. She said something mumbo jumbo that I was like, okay, whatever, lady.
Right.
And then Coop flipped the coin and it landed on Dead Dog Farm. I hate that kind of shit. Like,
oh no.
Like, conveniently the coin lands on the thing that, that like it turns out it's right. Like that Dead Dog Farm is the bad guy hideout. Turns out like that's the thing. I'm like, I hate plot conveniences like that. It like I kind of threw away the scene as kind of like a nothing burger as well, and then it turns out that it actually did lead somewhere to like the house. I didn't recognize that it was the house in the picture of the previous episode that we watched regarding like this plot line.
I have thoughts on what you said, but again, spoilers. So what I will say is that it feels like a misunderstanding of what David Lynch and Mark Frost could do earlier, where it didn't feel that cheap. But like because they're not involved,
feel cheap,
they're like, oh, we're gonna do this. This is what they did, right? No, it's not.
Yeah,
and that's all I'll say about it without getting.
Okay.
To explain my full thoughts would involve spoilers, so I hope anyone who's seen the show knows what I'm trying to say with this, because I need to be vague for your sake.
Yeah. Yeah, it did feel cheap. Like when you said the word cheap, that clicked for me. I was like, ooh, like I don't think I like this that much, but it's Coop and I like Coop, so I kind of excused it as like, whatever, it's Coop, he's a cool guy.
The magic of what a good character / actor will do, because there's so much bullshit you could put up with where you're like, I was talking about this about like a persona thing, but like when you like something, you'll excuse so much stuff about it and try to like stuff you wouldn't excuse otherwise, and you'll try to find justifications for it.
Yeah.
When the justification is, I like everything else this is doing, so this one mistake's not enough to ruin it for me. But people struggle so hard with accepting that about themselves, including myself. So instead, it's always like, no, we're gonna excuse it because it's this character and this is what they're doing, and I like this character. And it's like, no, this is still bad. But like,
that's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, people have a hard time differentiating that, of being like, no, I like this part of it, this part's bad, and they are in the same thing right now. Like,
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
little
very
bit of a
interesting
divergence there,
scene.
but
Yeah. Okay, I will skip ahead to the next scene.
Yep.
And it's Andy and Harry doing the investigating the death of the died via sex brother.
Okay. Wait, what was the scene before this?
It was the scene before it was Richard, Lucy, and Andy talking about Nikki and the foster system at the police station.
That's right. Okay, good.
And then and then they get called to the dead guy at the hotel.
The female will respond in such a way that the skin around her. Oh my God!
Looks like Dougie went out with his boots on. Love poems of Lord Byron, Kama Sutra, hookers and handmaidens.
Sheriff, look at this.
Died via sex?
Yes, if you remember this plot line from earlier.
What a falling out was here.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
wait, I remember this
say,
plot line.
So the whole thing about her being hypersexual or whatever.
Fucking, they play it so serious, this plot line. And then at the end, the brother friggin' walks away with her.
Yeah, if you remember when he threatened her with the shotgun, he was like,
Yes.
She killed him.
Yes,
with sex."
exactly.
this is the scene.
I see. They play it so serious, and then they end it so, like, comically. Oh my god. Yeah, Andy, you comfort him. Thank you, Andy.
There's a reason he has a job here after all.
You sexual adventurous.
Hawk.
You'll burn in hell for this.
Take it easy, Mr.
Oh my god, this is so funny. This is so funny, knowing what's going to happen with this plot line.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
I put Hawk heart because every time Hawk shows up, I write his name and put a heart next to him.
Hawk is so good. Seems funny, not much. I have nothing much to say about it.
Yeah.
If you had anything.
No, I don't have much to say. It sets up other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Later in the
It's kind of funny being like,
yeah.
everyone be like, oh dear, like, ooh, titillating, like, is kind of funny. And then what's her face shows back up, and you're like, oh, okay,
yes.
time for you to ruin the scene.
That's when I realized. Yes, that's when I realized, like, oh, that's it's that
that's
girl.
when. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was like, oh, I see. That's why she was running away. I see. The next scene is the high school scene with the coach and Nadine and Mike wrestling.
And when what's his name saw him
I think
run
this is the
50
first
yards
scene
and
I've
no one
seen
lay a
in
hand
the
on him,
high school.
he shouted, "Look at that Indian go!"
Oh, is that correct?
Yeah,
that might be
I think
correct.
so.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Nadine. And today, the story applies.
Oh
We
wait,
saw
that's
her
right.
try out-
At
we
the
saw her try out
tryouts,
for-
yes.
Inside the building. Well, no, because they had to go to the counselor's office. So no,
Right,
technically we have
right,
seen
you're
the
right.
school before. Technically.
Mike Nelson, just step up here for a second.
Oh, there's Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Is this where they
Now,
fall in
Nadine has
love?
chosen to prove herself to us by taking on
Well,
our very best.
one of them does. Remember, after this, he still has his scene of, I want
Right,
2 pieces of pie.
right at the diner.
Yeah.
Put your hand here. No, here. Now just push against me.
Want to go out tonight?
Just call it time.
Oh yeah.
You stupid.
Oh.
What did you say, Mike?
I mean, because he's trying to be delicate as well, and then it's like, oh, wait, no, she's very...
Sort of like necking. What about tonight?
Coach.
A good coach. Oh, Mike.
I know I keep banging the drum,
1, 2,
but like,
and 3.
Now you go out with me.
my first time watching through this, I fucking hated all of this. I was like, this is so dumb. What's it doing? On a rewatch, this is so funny. Like, I love this so much. Like, oh, this is so dumb.
What happened to you?
I got beat up by a
Donna
girl.
does go to school.
What'd you do?
Oh, that's Donna.
I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. Now you gotta help me. It's bad enough getting stomped on in front of the whole team. She likes me.
Who?
Mrs. Hurley.
Nadine?
It's not.
Mrs.
No, maybe an older woman's just what you need.
I don't want to go out with anyone who can body slam.
Well, what do you want me to do about it?
I don't talk to her or something. You know, pretend you're still my girlfriend.
Sorry, Mike.
Oh, Donna and Mike dated
Donna,
before.
this is serious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up in traction.
Interesting. I like the Nadine Mike thing. Like we said, it's very uncomfortable if you think of the real world circumstances, but as like just like a break from all the seriousness, I look forward to seeing their scenes because I know that like, you know, no one's gonna die suddenly. Like it's literally like it's just
maybe we did see Nadine fuck up Hank like a few episodes ago in the episode that follows this one in chronological order. But you know, I totally get what you mean. No one's gonna die. It's not gonna be overly dramatic. Like when she shows up, or Mike shows up, you're like, oh, this is gonna be nice and funny and kind of comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which I think we only know because we know where it's going. And because again, when I watched through this the first time, it was like, this is everything I hate about the new Twin Peaks. And now it's like, this is one of my lifelines through the worst parts.
Through the shit. This is like the best part through the garbage.
Yeah, she really digs her way out of the shit, man. It's so good. Like.
And then I get the first interesting tidbit that Donna and Mike had dated before.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
That's the first time I've heard of that. I did not know that. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting because Mike, as I've been watching it, is just like a random kid. He's just like, you know, he's kind of just there.
Like everyone else is involved in all this plot lines of murder and sex and stuff.
And then there's just Mike.
Like, he's just in high school is what he is.
Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting. That adds a bit of backstory that, like, I know there's backstory there. Like, I know, oh, Mike, I shouldn't throw away Mike just yet. Like, Mike it will probably play a bigger role at some point later for me. And so I made a note there to, like, not discount Mike just yet. and so that's that. I'm going to, the next scene is James and Malcolm. We get introduced to Malcolm for the first time, and I'm going to combine the Malcolm scenes all together because there's only two of them.
Yeah.
Malcolm and James. When Malcolm is shown to be kind of like an alcoholic, in the second scene at least.
I do like the lighting of the lightning.
Yeah.
Is she gonna be okay?
And like Malcolm explains the abuse that Evelyn is going through.
Well, his sister is being beaten and he's drinking himself out of not
and he's
fighting. But like again, we know they're not actually siblings. I don't get what that obfuscation is for.
Yeah.
I don't get what the plan is there. Like, just have him work there? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't, why'd they do that?
Yeah, that's true. I don't understand, like...
Or does Jeffrey think that they're siblings and that's why he's allowed to work
right?
there? Is that the implication? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spend too long on it because this is... the reason I brought up the overwritten thing is just so I could slap it on all of the James scenes this time.
Yeah.
Overwritten, don't care, very boring. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Malcolm doesn't do a good job convincing me to care. James is fine. Everyone acts at him, and he's kind of a stone wall to bounce off of.
Yeah, that's so true. That's very true. Oh, it's so sad to see the deterioration of James's character in my head because I really liked him in that first episode. I was like, yeah, bad boy that's trying to escape the police. I was totally into it. And now I see like what led to that point, and I'm like, damn, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
that's sad. So
yeah, he's just kind of there.
Yeah,
I have nothing to say about it.
Me neither.
Which is probably the most damning thing to say.
Okay, the next part is the dead dog farm when they actually visit the dead dog farm.
Again, overwritten.
I thought overwritten. Yes, I agree. It was a weird scene. I did not really like it. Yeah, Coop is great. I like Coop in it. He's a very good actor.
Yeah, Kyle MacLachlan is so good.
I don't have anything else to say about it other than they found cocaine.
Hello?
So you would get rid of those shapes. It'd be better to have the windows open than to have those, right?
Yeah.
If you're trying to sell this place.
Yeah.
Forgot there was no running water.
Cocaine. Why would you?
I mean, that's a way to do it without getting the high, right?
I guess. It's just,
I don't
what
know.
What if it's
but
something
I
else?
see it in a lot of TV shows, so it feels like it's a thing, right?
More white powder.
We need to. I should have looked this up, but like. Is it okay to ingest that? Because we brought it up during the episode.
I
like
was
tasting
wondering
it.
that.
like, is that okay? Because I've seen it in a lot of TV. Like I don't just see it in this. I've seen it in a lot of police stuff. I love hey, to make this clear, ACAB, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love propaganda. I love those shows. I love indulging in the fantasy. I love the puzzle aspect of it, of solving a crime.
Me too.
I
think that's why I like it so much.
Well, part of it also for me is indulging in the fantasy that I'm aware is a fantasy, that our law enforcement are there to help us.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fantasy of that. I enjoy the fantasy of there's these people who care and want to help you.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Like,
right?
I love, my favorite TV shows are propaganda shows, like Law and Order, SVU,
oh, and those
Criminal
are
Minds.
so bad. Those are so bad in terms of the way they erode American civil rights, in a very real world sense. But they're good TV shows.
It's good TV shows. It's good TV.
The worst kind of propaganda are the kind that's entertaining to consume, right? And so so I love that shit. When they start to break the rules, I'm like, ooh, bad boy. And when actually
you
it's
fight for your
no,
victims.
that's so wrong, right? I can separate that though, but I see that a lot in those cop TV shows of where they'll taste the drug and be like, oh, it's this, and I'm like, is that okay?
I was wondering that myself because when he started elementary 101 is don't stick unknown substances in your mouth. That is what they teach you in kindergarten to make sure that kindergartners don't die via eating too much dirt in their system or something like that, right? I don't know if that is a real thing. I feel like we need to ask an expert on that.
Do you have an expert readily available to ask?
I don't have an expert readily available to ask. You know what? I'll ask around. And if by the time that this episode comes out we have an answer, we'll insert it here. But
no, don't put that on me. I'm the one who's editing it. We'll answer that in another episode. Watch the rest of the episodes and maybe you'll find out.
Fair. True. There you go. That is the only note that I have for this scene is cocaine ? Because I think I started writing.
Is that the first set is baby laxative.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
It's initially baby laxative, and then they imply later that that's what they used to cut the cocaine to weaken it or whatever, and make it so you can have more. And it's like, is that what they use? Is that what they do? Baby laxative, legitimately, is that what you cut cocaine with?
Wait, I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like we need an expert opinion on that.
We don't do drugs. We're nerds. We're watching Twin Peaks out of order.
Yeah, we're watching Twin Peaks.
This is a 30-year-old show that we're going back to watch. about drugs? At most, we'd know. Like at most, anyone who watches this show like this, is shrooms, and that's at most. Like none of the other kind of stuff. Yeah, whatever. Moving on.
Whatever. I'm moving on to the next
joke
scene.
ran out of steam. Move to the next scene.
The next scene is Dick and Nikki at the car scene.
I mean, they do make him look menacing right before that happens.
They do.
Why, don't worry, I'm all right, little Nicky.
If you died, you aren't gonna die, are you?
Of course not. Don't be silly.
He's like, I might. This kid might kill me.
Cooper.
They play it
Colonel
so
Riley.
serious.
He's heading up
Oh
the
my
Air Force's
god.
investigation into Briggs' disappearance.
Colonel?
Cooper.
And they have matching outfits, which is very cute.
Yes,
and
it's very
again,
funny.
they
And I
play
think they styled
play
his
the
hair
scenes-
the same way, but I don't
Yes,
remember if he's
they
always
did.
styled the hair that way or not.
They play the scene super straight again, like when Nikki looks back at Dick and then the car falls and like the music turns serious again. And it's just like, again, interesting that they play it so straight, knowing where that storyline goes.
Also,
So-
like this runs into a similar theme with the outside of just being played serious of magic all of a sudden.
Yeah, you're right.
Because there's
you're
the sex magic from the widow, right? Where like it's implied that she, she's using magic to ensorcel these people, and she's using magic to kill these people, and like him being like magical in his own way, right?
Right.
And it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. What is this show about?
What the fuck are you doing? And we know it doesn't resolve that way, which is part of it. But let me assure you, watching it through the first time doesn't make this any more clear. It's not like this was set up of being like, and there's magicians and whatever. It's not. It's weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm
this
moving
scene's
on.
fine by itself, to be fair. I do like not knowing whether Dick likes the kid or not, because like when the Dick comes out, he's like, "You're not mad at me, are you?" And he's like, "No, why would I be mad?" And the kid laughs or whatever. It's hard to know whether he's playing along to build his reputation or whatever, which we know he's doing for Lucy, or if he's like legitimately was scared and annoyed, or like was annoyed by the honking, but is like, he's a kid, and I actually do kind of it's nice to have that ambiguity there.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
So I just wanted to highlight that part because I don't feel like we're gonna get many opportunities to scream Dick Tremaine's good attributes or like so.
Okay, moving on to the next scene, which is talking about Briggs' disappearance at the police station with Coop.
And where they were
See,
sent
fucking you with aliens, Mac! Fucking aliens!
To be fair, he's now saying the opposite of like, yes, it's coming from the woods, not from deep space.
Aliens!
Garland Briggs.
The Major Briggs, his actor is like has a major role in X-Files.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and David Duchovny's in this. And this came out before X-Files.
His disappearance has implications that go so far beyond national security. The Cold War seems like a case of the sniffles.
And the other military guy.
Right.
And the deep space messages. I think this is the first. I don't know if this is the first or if it was explained in an episode that I forgot. But it's like, Coop says like, oh, what is like, he was like, this is when I hear about the deep space messages and how they pertain to me. And then I thought, I put a note there that I thought that was interesting because it reinforces the theory in my head that this is really a show about aliens. And so I wrote a heavy note in there about that. And then
For a show
again
about
with
aliens,
the white,
there's a whole lot of them.
yeah. And then again, the White Lodge keeps coming up, and I still don't know jack shit about the freaking White Lodge. Like, when when does this storyline culminate into something that isn't just people talking about it? I want to know. I'm sure it is on an episode that we have yet to watch.
Which direction do you think that's in? Do you think it's future or past?
I think it's future. It's a future thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does this scene and his reappearance, skipping to the last scene, and we'll get more into the last scene when it comes up, but does this add to that plot line for you at all of his disappearance, reappearance, the weird opening scene of the next episode that we see where he recounts his experience and all of that stuff that's going on with Major Briggs? Did any of this stuff help you with that?
Not really, no.
Like, you still hate it.
I still don't like it. I like what this scene does at the end, and I want to make room for that when we talk about it because it's my favorite scene in the episode.
Yeah.
And I like. I want to know like more about it. Like, if anything, it's making me angry that we've been talking about it for so long and nothing has happened in regards to it. Like, that just kind of makes me mad of like how come, like, if I'm remembering correctly, in chronological order, the next episode starts with Officer Briggs at the police station explaining to Coop what happened.
Yeah, he's on the seat in the jungle and has the weird, they call it a tattoo. It looks like a scar.
Yes, yeah.
On the back of behind his ear. Yeah.
And and then he doesn't remember much about the experience, if I'm remembering correctly, of what he says in that scene. It's been a while since we've seen that episode, I think. But he says I don't really remember much going on. Like, it was just a white light, blah 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 blah. And and then I don't think I hear anything else in the other episodes because the Josie storyline takes precedence over the White Lodge. I'm pretty sure.
We do hear stuff about it in the 17th episode where the log lady shows up and gave you the jump scare of you're in the show.
Log lady.
And she touches the tattoo.
My God, right.
And then they have their little scene in the police station.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it does come up again there, which is
but that scene. Okay, that scene is again them talking about the experience at the police station. Like, it's them. It's more backstory of a thing that I don't know more about. You know, at that point, it's like dragging it to a culmination of something I still don't know. Like, it makes me not. That's why it makes me not care about that storyline that much, because I think this storyline is really shitty to watch out of order, specifically. I think that's why, because I'm watching it out of order of why I don't like it. Because it is breadcrumbing in the wrong kind of way for me. Of I'm not getting enough for me to care about, but it keeps coming up, and it seems like something I should care about, but it's not giving me enough where I am. And I think that is part of it, of the order that I'm watching this storyline in. And so that's why it's still a nothing burger.
Do you think part of it is that out of the, I guess we've watched 6 episodes, 8 episodes? Let's see.
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 7. Right in between what I was saying. This is the 7th episode we've seen. We've seen that plotline pop up in 3 episodes with 1-ish scene each, maybe 2. One micro scene and then the second scene where it really talks about it, right? Do you feel like it feels that way because there is so much empty space in between all of that, where it's not bringing it up often enough with new information?
That could be part of it. I think part of it is also the timing of when we watch episodes. I think if we were watching it in chronological order, I think I would like it a little bit better. But because we're watching 1 episode a week, which I think that's how it aired, right? Was 1 new episode every week at the time. And I think us watching it 1 episode a week and then combined with watching it out of order, I don't remember it well enough because it doesn't come up often enough. And also, I'm watching it. I really don't think you should be watching this storyline in this order. Like, it makes me care about it less because the big culmination scene of Briggs getting kidnapped is like, it comes up too late, but also it's so long from when we watched it now that like I don't care about it anymore. And now that I'm not getting the answers of it, and I'm still not getting the answers, I'm getting the backstory of why it happened, but I still don't have the answers for it, is like really, like, it really does not suit well with, like, I really don't like this storyline because of that. And so I think it's just a combination of a bunch of different things that's making me feel this way about it.
I will say that while some people are very invested in this because of stuff that came before, largely I think that you are correct, and I think that this storyline is carried by Coulson's performance. That's the Log Lady. I think it's carried by Don Davis, who is brilliant in all the scenes he's in. Right? Okay. Like I think he does a good job, but I think the plot line itself is just kind of like, we know that you guys kind of, or how do, because this is new information. It we're doing this thing with it because we don't know how to address other stuff. So we've started this new plot line. But like it just feels like nothing. It feels like because they got rid of the like murder mystery aspect of the show, you keep calling it a murder mystery, but it's not really. We know it's a thriller. Wyndham Earl did it. We know it's not a mystery. We know who did it. Right? It's a thriller. And so but you still feel echoes of a murder mystery, and it feels like they're keeping this part in there as like a mystery substitute without knowing what to do with it. It feels like what Sherlock the show does constantly of like, oh, isn't this interesting? We promise it'll pay off, but like we kind of where you're at, because you're watching out of order, you have an awareness of, well, it hasn't paid off yet, and now I'm getting new information. It's like if you watch Sherlock starting with season 3 or 4, whichever the one everyone hated was, and then you went back and watched the other ones, and you're like, oh, this was always bad. This was always bad. Yeah. It just promised that it'd be good, but now we know it's never going to actually be there, right? But that's how you're consuming this plot line.
Yes.
It promises to be good, and you're so far in the future, you're like, well, it hasn't gotten good yet, so I don't believe you.
Exactly how I feel about that. As a side note, I was a Sherlock girly. Like, I watched, like, and it was, it promised so much, Mac. It promised so much, and then season 3...
I'm just, right there with you. Well, season 3 wasn't good, and season 4 was the one where it fell off the tracks or whatever. Well, supposedly. Like, I was the same way because like I'm pretty notorious in my family for like being able to guess plot twists and like know where stories are going and solving mysteries too early in like movies and TV shows and stuff. And when I first watched Sherlock, I wasn't able to solve a lot of the mysteries. And I thought, oh, that's because it's being clever. Really what it's doing is hiding information so you can't solve it, because he goes and gets this information off screen and is like, look at me, I'm so smart. Right. But I didn't realize that trick yet. And so I was like, oh, this is clever because I didn't guess what's going on for the first time in my goddamn life. And then it turns out it was just bad. And like, once you see behind the curtain, you look back and you're like, oh, it was always like this.
It was always like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a side tangent.
Yeah, side tangent.
Okay.
We have a lot of them in this episode.
Yes. All right, the next scene is James and Evelyn in the car, and I'm gonna skip it because I don't care about it, and it makes me
move
icky.
On. Overwritten. Boop, move on.
All right, the next scene is Bobby and Audrey at the hotel, and Bobby is handing the photo, which we now know are photos, to her dad, and then Audrey is watching it from the hole in the hotel.
After I show this to class.
You want to know what I think, Bobby Briggs?
Tell.
I don't know what to think of. Bobby's like a character that I still
doing business
like
together.
Struggle
a little
with
unsure of. Yeah.
Like, dude, like, listen, I get that Sherilyn Finn's like very attractive. I get that. but he goes home to Machinamic. Like that's not like, what are you doing, my guy?
Yeah.
I know she has to care for whatever, but like, my dude. And
Oh my
here we
god,
go.
this is the start of the Confederate scene.
Yeah.
How's it going?
I'm right there with you. Like, they start this.
What's that? What is he doing here exactly?
Get it, Rick. Day one. South is winning.
Like, it really does just kind of come out of nowhere. Like, they had an
Yeah.
other thing going.
Got those pictures?
Yeah, where he was like, yeah, literally at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, in the same episode. Like, at least if it was a different episode, there'd be something about that, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what he's up to, but I'm sure it's no good. I mean, I've never seen these guys not exactly on the road with people.
Like, good setup. Good setup. Audrey is very crafty. Every scene that I watch with Audrey now, I like her even more. Like, she's grown up there with Catherine for me. Audrey
Yes,
and Catherine are high up there for
It's really interesting because the plotline you started with, you didn't like her in, and then
Yeah.
like as you're going back, you're like, oh, I think I would like her more knowing all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I already said my thoughts on it. I wish it was this other thing where like this promises to
Yeah.
be that, and then it
Yeah.
doesn't do anything after this
Yeah.
with that, and that sucks. So
That does suck.
look back to the previous scene where I brought up Audrey. Like, that's how I feel about this scene. I do love them playing off of each other in this
I
way.
do. Yes. Yeah.
But again, we don't really get that. We just get him being a pervert and her being like, no, focus up. You work for me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pete. That's very lyrical.
It's his. He's a poet.
I know.
The only other toast I know was a limerick.
No, really, Pete, that was.
There once was a lady from Gaul.
Josie.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
We'll have our appetizers now.
Yes.
Oh, Josie, I just want you to know that even though your station in this household has changed, I intend to show you all the respect and affection that you deserve.
Thank you, Catherine. And I'll try to do the same.
Oh, and put on your little maid's cap.
As good as that is, there's no way that stays on there.
Yeah. Speaking of Catherine, she shows up in the next scene with Pete.
Yep.
And then Josie, okay, in my head, Josie is painted as like a very hysteric woman because of all the scenes I've seen her in. But she's normal in this scene, and I'm like, oh,
is this the first time you've seen her normal?
Yeah,
because she's
like,
been in
she's
turmoil the rest of. That's right. Because
Yes,
the only thing you saw
exactly.
her, she went back to Harry after like being like lost in the woods or whatever. You don't know
Yeah,
what happened to her, but like
yeah.
she went to Harry and they made
Yeah.
out, and then she's been
Yeah.
in distress the rest of the time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh wait,
so funny.
Josie's a normal ass person, and so I thought that was interesting.
The way that she like serves back to Catherine and they play off of each other is so good. Where
It's
like
good,
Catherine
yes.
is like, oh
Yes.
well, I'll treat you with the respect
give you
you
what
deserve.
you
and
deserve.
she's like,
And she goes,
I'll
yes.
try to do the same. And, like,
Yes, exactly. Like that was good. That was very
what you
good
should
back
know
and
is
forth.
this is who Josie is, not the rest of the stuff. Like spoilers, but like yeah, this is who she is. That's why like the whole other part was so messed up. Of like, look what they're doing to this poor like I should say poor girl because we know what she's done. But like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
this is what she's like. She's a
I
femme
see.
fatale, but you don't know that if you're watching it in this
Yeah.
order.
Because yeah, I was like, I remember the thought crossing my head as we were watching this, and I was like, oh wait, like she's fighting back. Like, good for her. I was like, wait a second, what's happening here? So yeah, I like Josie is a normal person in this scene, and I like seeing that of her. And so I'm interested to hear or see, I guess, like earlier in like season 1, because you said that she plays a pretty prominent role in season 1. and I'm very curious as to what she's like because this is just a small glimpse of it.
Yeah.
Like that small scene, like her talking back to Catherine it was a good back and forth that I enjoyed. So
Yeah,
I want to see more of that.
It really is a shame what happened to the storyline because by getting rid of Josie, they kind of neutered Catherine as well because she does so good when she has someone to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so like we're really seeing that. She does good all the time, but like you know, who's she fighting after she beats everybody?
Yeah.
Right? Like but it's a nice little scene. I love Pete in it being like, here's this poem, and she starts being like a little bit like, oh, look at my husband, kind of cute, and then he keeps going with the poem, and she's like, this is why I fuck Ben.
Like,
and then
exactly.
and then she drinks hers while he's still holding his, and then he's like, that's the only toast I know besides this limerick, and she's like, that's okay, and he starts a limerick, and she's like, no, like. Just a good scene. It's fun.
It's a good scene. The next one is Coop talking about Wyndham Earl in the tape.
Is this the first time we've heard him do the tape recorder to Diane?
I think so. This is the first time with the tape recorder.
Okay.
Looked into some real estate. What the local agent Sheraton refers to as a fixer-upper. Nonetheless, it's the kind of place where a man might make a home, raise a family. Something in spite of my past, I still want to do.
And talking about like the opening move in the newspaper, I thought that was pretty cool to see kind of the background and what he thinks of a bunch of what's happening around him. It's because like I really like that scene because we get a little glimpse into Coop's head and what he's thinking. Because even though he is like the titular main character, like we don't know what he's thinking. We can only take a guess. And so I think it's a good way of opening his mind a little bit to see what he thinks of the series of events that's happening around him.
It was a wild revelation for me to realize this is the first time you heard him with the tape recorder and say Diane, because that's like an iconic thing for the show. And that's so interesting that like interesting. We're 7 episodes in and you just heard that.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
line that he said that interested me the most is secrets of the Bureau and trouble at the Bureau. He mentions that a couple times during that, and I thought, what does that mean? So, footnote in that. I don't know what that means, but that interested me. And then the lovely Audrey comes in.
This is for you, Stella.
You think you better give it back?
Not until you look at what's inside.
Okay.
Okay.
What am I gonna find you?
It's so cute.
And I don't they have so much like that's the second scene I've seen of them, and they have so much chemistry together. And I thought, like, I wrote the little ookie that Coop says to her. I thought that was super cute.
It's so cute.
Oh, it's so cute. And it's just like, oh, I really like them together.
It also shows like a level of trust where she's like, I stole it. And he's like, don't you think you should give it back? And she's like, not until you see it. And he's like,
yeah.
Okay, like I trust you on this. I should see this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I really like their chemistry is very good together.
And her getting starstruck with oh my god, Denise. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that too. Where she's like, "There's women in the FBI." Like, it just makes me like Audrey. Every scene that Audrey's in just makes me like her even more. Like Audrey. Oh, it's so good. I really like that scene.
So we've seen 2 different sides to her so far. I've already kind of spoiled season 3 for you in that it happens significantly later. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned that to you, I think.
I think so. Maybe it's been a while.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think? Do you think she goes on to be like a business person like Ben, or do you think she like becomes an agent, or like, what do you think? She now has two paths laid in front of her.
Right.
How do you think she develops, having seen a little bit more backstory?
Oh, she's so crafty. That's hard. Cause like
she do well in either way.
She do well either way. I agree. Like ruthless businesswoman, I can see that path, but also I would love to see her as like an FBI kind of agent. I would love to see that path for her. But I don't know if that's like my bias of like girl power, like go. Like, I don't know if my bias is that.
Either way is girl boss.
That's true.
So
that's
like,
true.
you know, either way works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next scene after that is Eddie and Norma at the diner.
Oop, I may be wearing a dress, but I still put my panties on one leg at a time, if you know what I mean. Not really.
I love his response to that of, not really. Like, I don't know what you mean by that.
You gonna eat that pie or just push it around in my china?
Ooh, Eddie and Norma.
I guess ain't all that.
I didn't think they would show up this episode.
We used to talk about everything. We could still talk it.
And I no notes, just a little heart. I like them together. Again, more backstory of those two. I think they're made for each other. I really like them. I got the backstory that they knew each other when they were younger. I think this is the first time I heard of them talking about like, oh, remember when we were younger and we had all these dreams that Eddie says? I'm like, oh, they knew each other when they were younger. I'm like, that adds more to why I think that they're perfect for each other. And then Norma's husband, I put Ick. Because
he was just there to be gross. Absolutely. He's like, remember, I'm here. I'm a threat.
Yeah. And then the next scene is the scene I dislike the most.
I will say real quick, that last scene also felt a little bit overwritten to me with Ed's stuff. Not that he wouldn't give lines like that, but it felt off to me. I think that the actor does like a fantastic job with it. So like, it's only because it was already in my brain of being like, oh, I feel the writers in this episode like injecting into everybody, right? That I even noticed it because I think his delivery is really good. But like, I think even the good episode or the good scenes kind of still have that over them. Like that was cute, but his whole thing about like, you know, life, suddenly you're halfway through life and yada yada, like it sounds like something he'd say, but because it's surrounded by all these other scenes where they do that, it feels like, oh, okay, here's another example of that. It just works better because the actor knows how to manage it. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah,
that's fair. And then like I said, the next scene afterwards is a scene I really don't like. It's the worst scene in the episode, and it is the whole the Harry freaking heart attack girl, freaking Hawk bullshit. Everyone head over heels over the girl. I really don't like that.
See, this is why I love this plotline. It's like, this is so good of like them being together and her realizing she's the third wheel is choice. They need more of that.
Maybe the devil.
He's known as I in the first degree. Come to find out what happened.
The autopsy report. Dwayne, Dougie died of natural causes, heart attack. No evidence of foul play.
Did you check him for witchcraft?
That's not the kind of thing that shows up in an autopsy.
Did you check him for witchcraft?
Yeah, he's a problematic mayor, but I love his performance. It's so funny.
Well, she killed him with sex. How much clearer does it have
And I love the dog behind him being like,
It's been a long, hard day. Why don't you just go home and try and get some rest?
You want me to go to sleep? Not until that murdering hussy is behind bars, where she belongs.
Murdering hussy.
I'll sue her. I'll file civil suits. She'll not get her hands on any of Dougie's money as long as I have a breath. Not one single red cent. Not.
I mean, she gets his money and the mayor's money by the end there.
Harry, you still have that bottle of Irish in your office? I want to put some in a little warm milk for the widow Milford.
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It seems she hangs against the cheek of night like a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. Beauty too rich for use, or too dear.
I like that Hawks was the one in focus for the pull-in of that shot.
Yeah.
I'd say that about Hawk.
I was about to say, Hawk does fit the bill, though.
Right?
Dan, I thought.
I like how it starts where
I like how
Dick
it starts.
walks
yes.
in and Lucy's like, oh, it's for me. And then Dick goes and fights Andy. Because I really wanted to highlight this. This is what their relationship should have been. Is like those two bonding over time and deciding to like basically co-parent with Lucy, where they are almost the relationship. Like that's what this should have been, and it promised me that, and we saw it start to develop. And then, as we already saw last time we watched an episode 17, that had the weasel or whatever, and all of that. It already starts to detangle itself from that. It's like, no, this is good. Keep doing that. Anyways, I really needed to highlight that specific moment because that is so choice.
That's fair. That's fair. And
but
then,
the rest of the rest of the scene.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't like it.
We shared our thoughts on it already.
Yes.
We don't need to rehash it, but fuck that scene.
All right, and then the next scene after is Denise going to Mr. Niles with the parole violation of, like, you know, getting photographed with the drug dealers. Set up for the next episode, where the Mr. Niles is a big sweater, but
what I really appreciate about this, and I want to see if it changes your opinion on Mr. Niles. But like when that initially happened, you were applauding Niles of being like, well, it takes a lot of courage to do this and to roll and to do the right thing. Has that changed for you?
A little bit, yeah. Like he was kind of like, not forced into it, but they were like, well, you broke parole, and so you gotta cooperate with us to I think it doesn't change too much because like he could just like if he was a real hardened criminal and like snitches don't get stitches, you know, like if he was like really like that, then he would just go to jail and not say anything, right? He would just go back to jail. And then, but he chose to, or the writers chose to have him end up being the mole, essentially. And I still think a little bit of that.
I think
about
that makes him more Weasley than it does.
You
like,
think so?
I think it makes him more Weasley. Because then at least then, like, if he was like, no, I'm not saying anything. Because, like, remember, it was revealed that, like, he is Norma's stepdad.
Yes.
Which means that he's rolling on his stepson-in-law, right?
Oh, right.
And while
okay,
Hank is a piece of shit,
right.
You know, he went along with it. They met each other in jail. He's fine with doing the drug thing until suddenly it caught up to him, right? He's a nervous ball of energy, but like, no, he's more of a weasel. At least like have honor amongst thieves, you know, of like,
I guess.
all right, fine.
I don't know.
I think if you're trying to do a redemptive thing for him, I think that works better. I think in terms of plot, it works. I just think he's a shitty character.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think he's a shitty person. I think it works for the plot, and I like the acting, and I like the character himself. I want to delineate that clearly. I just think he's a piece of shit.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I I don't think that changes for my character, for me at least.
Okay.
Like I think he still does the right thing.
That feeds into a point that's in the next scene, or it's kind of the same scene but in a different location. Right, where Denise and Cooper are talking to him in the thunderstorm, right?
Yes.
Where like he gets a little bit transphobic about it.
Yeah.
I think that that's kind of where part of that feeds into my brain of that, of like, I think it's good to show that some people aren't going to be okay with that, but then to make it clear that like that is the wrong opinion to have. And since he is eternally making the wrong decisions, I think it works. Like, here's this dumbass who's so scared of everything and is like a little Weasley piece of shit. And of course he's transphobic, like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that works. And then you're like, oh, okay. Of course you're the person who would be like, oh, man, like, it's gay that you were holding my hand, right? Like, right? I think that works because he's a piece of shit.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next scene we already talked about, but I'll bring up, is James and Malcolm talking about Evelyn getting
don't care.
abused. Don't care. And then we'll move
Sorry,
on to
did
the
you have
best
thoughts on
scene.
it? I didn't mean to cut you off if you have thoughts on it.
Let's
but-
move on to the best scene of the episode.
Good. Yeah, this is
which
gonna be
is
I think the one that takes up some time. Yeah.
Yes, and Bobby and his mom, and like. Oh.
I'm sorry. You want to see no one in the dark.
Nothing. Just sitting.
Well, read a book or something. It's creepy.
One of the scenes that complicates Bobby, where it's like clear he does care about his mom, even as he's being a dickwad elsewhere. Like,
No, Will, this is just something that I'm speaking to.
I'm not so sure this time.
We doubled on a couple weeks ago. There, in his talk. About this dream he had. Big house. Big white marble. Some lights. Dad was there. I was there too. Big life and fun and joy. And there was all this stuff about my future. Good stuff. Everything else, I thought it was cool.
Your father is an extraordinary thing.
My father is a deeply weird individual, but he has a lot more going on under his head than most people, that's for sure.
Sometimes when I'm sleeping, he runs his fingers through my hair. He thinks I don't notice that.
Aww.
How long have I been gone?
2 days.
Strange. Seemed much shorter.
I remember I said this during the episode. I said to you, I don't know how to feel about Bobby. I said I don't know how to feel about him. Every scene I've seen of him has been like, like he's like one-sided kind of character. Like I don't really care.
He's a great actor, but it seems like his character's kind of stuck in this spot where the actor's bringing more to it than his character has.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, when you said that, and I knew that this episode was going to end where it does, I got so excited. I was like, let's fucking go. Where you're like, I don't know how to feel about Bobby. And I was kind of feeding into that a little bit because I knew this was coming up, and it's so choice. It's so this scene, I think Dana Ashbrook, the guy who plays Bobby, is so good. He is
very good.
And I want to let me hear your thoughts on it, and I'll play off of that so I don't step on any toes or spoil anything.
Okay. I really like Bobby, I think this is also the first time that I realized that the general was Bobby's dad. Like, I didn't realize that until this episode. So I'm glad I got that. First of all, we'll get that out of the way.
Yeah, okay, good.
But it like I said, like every scene I've seen of Bobby has been him being really shallow and being very like, first he quote unquote tries to help Shelly but doesn't. Like he basically abandons her in the freaking house with Leo. Like I didn't like Bobby for that already.
To be
and
fair,
then,
he did also fight Leo once he got up
yes,
and
he
moved
did
around.
fight Leo when he got there. Yes, I do. Yeah, sure. But like, you know,
No, I get what you mean, though.
I think it's because like Shelly was left alone with Leo. So, like all the scenes of Shelly and Leo, like Bobby's nowhere to fucking be found. Like he's not helping.
Well,
her
he's
at
always
all.
leaving to go
Like,
do business. I have this big
yeah,
plan
quote
to
unquote
go do.
business. Yeah, and like with Audrey,
And
then
we see
he's
him
trying
flirting
to
with her.
get
Yeah,
up.
it's-
Yeah, and then yeah, exactly. Like I already didn't have a very high opinion of Bobby
Yes.
because of that, and so I was very like he seems kind of like a one-sided character of like I don't like he knows what he wants and he's gonna go do what he wants. He doesn't really care about anyone else kind of deal. Like he'll do the things that he has to do when he has to do it. Like for example, help Shelly when Leo was attacking her, for example.
He's
But,
not a horrible person.
you know,
He's just kind of a
he's
shitty
not a horrible
teenager.
person, but yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
he's a teenage boy, right? Like
Yeah,
very
but, like,
I thought
the
very
worst
one-sided.
kind of teenage
Yes,
boy.
the worst
Yeah.
kind of teenage boy.
The kind
exactly.
where you're like, oh yeah, we knew those kids, and hopefully they grew to be better people, but sometimes you kind of doubt it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And so I already didn't have a high opinion of Bobby
Yeah.
from seeing the episodes I've seen, but this scene, like, really, like, one, it's acted so well. Like, Bobby still has that kind of gruffness, but there's a certain tenderness in his character that is shown through that scene.
he has
that
like
I
a
really
pathos to him where he's like able to like almost directly convey emotion to the viewer of like not say anything but just directly beam an emotion to the viewer while
Mhm.
being able to act this other thing, which adds a layer, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant.
Yes, that was a really good scene to see that side of him that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And so I also really like the mom in this scene. Like it didn't occur to me that General Briggs had a family. He's just been this guy that has disappeared and come back. Like I haven't seen him interact with his family at all. And so the only
And in
scene
other
that
shows
I've
of this
seen his
era,
mom
like
in
that
is
would
good.
be like what it is, where then he comes back
Yeah.
and then like if he has a family, they would all basically act like nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly. And so to see that kind of backstory of the backstory of this plot line that I freaking can't stand is fantastic. And like it's just such a sweet scene that like really culminates, like not culminates. That's not the right word, but like it it also adds it adds like the backstory of like, oh yeah, all these characters like go home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, like there is a home to go to, and I never seen that side until this moment of like, oh, like, yeah, Bobby isn't just hanging out at the hotel 24 hours a day.
Well,
like
there was a
he
scene with
goes
Shelly.
home.
There's a scene with Shelly that we definitely did see where he's like, no, she's like, I need help with Leo. And she's like,
Yeah.
And he's like, I have to go to school. I'm trying to do this business thing. I haven't been home in like days. I need to go home. Like,
Yeah.
which is like shitty to leave Shelly in that situation. But then you're kind of reminded,
Yes.
he's like barely 18 and still in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like we actually see, I think that was like literally maybe episode 10, where he says that, and then you know, another day later he goes back home. And it's like this emotional thing of like, oh, don't worry, Dad'll be back. He's weird, but we had this good conversation, and you know, he's an amazing guy. He'll be okay, and like comforting his mom about it is like, yeah, it's nice.
It's good. It's good. I like it. Very good
Yeah.
scene. And then General Briggs comes back in the thunderstorm.
Major Briggs. I don't mean to. I'm
or
not trying to
sorry.
correct you. I just want to make sure that like
Major
If
Briggs,
anyone-
whatever.
If anybody, I don't want anybody to be like, well, actually, like this is me.
Okay,
saying,
I'm gonna say this
shut the
right
fuck up.
now.
Thank you. Go for
I'm
it.
gonna say this right now for anyone who's watching this podcast. I literally do not give a shit about army ranks. I literally don't care. And if you care, good for you. I don't, and I'm gonna call him General Briggs. I'm gonna
You know
call
what?
him whatever he
And
says.
then I'll stop saying it now that you've said that, because now it's a form of protest, and I agree with that. Now
I
that this is
literally
in the air,
do not care.
Absolutely, General Briggs. Let's go.
As a side tangent, that's a very like American thing. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's very like for those that don't know, I'm Canadian, and like, yeah, we have our army people here in Canada too, and like, you know, they all have ranks and stuff. Like, but the whole calling rank thing is very, I think it's very American. Like, it's very like, oh, you have to make sure you call someone by their rank, and if they're higher than you have to listen to them no matter what. I feel like that's a very American thing of like,
Actually, in our own military, there's rules against that. Where if
oh really?
Yeah, because of Germany, of just following orders. We literally incorporated that into our military of like, no, if there are moral things that you're supposed to object to, if you follow through with that, you are as culpable. You have to object to that to your.
Maybe that's
Yes.
an American stereotype that I've witnessed through media. Maybe that's what
No,
it is.
because the problem is that we wrote that in and it's still not active. Like it's still apparently by all points doesn't work, and people still use like it was an order as an excuse. And that's
I
very
see.
upsetting for me.
Yeah, that
living
is
here
upsetting.
right now.
That
Because
is
it's like
upsetting.
it feels like God. I don't know. I might cut this out. We'll see how I feel in the
Okay.
moment.
Okay.
But like, it reminds me of like, ICE just did a thing or a tweet where it's like, we
Right.
don't target anybody who's in like a place of like a hospital or a, you know, whatever. Like they just
Yeah.
did a thing like that, right? Where they're like,
Yeah.
so you know, we're not heartless. Like you know, we don't target them at their most vulnerable. And then someone was like, no, you literally just held a 10-year-old like who had surgery and
Yeah.
try to deport them. Like literally just happened.
Like literally just yesterday.
And the thing about that is that like likely ICE does have a policy that says we don't do this, right? Just like a lot of police stuff has a lot of policies where they're like, we don't do this activity. It's not codified that this is what we're doing. And so you have people who are going to follow policy and follow the rules, and that's fine. But you don't have a system to punish the people who break the rules because you expect them to break the rules because that's how you actually get the results you want. It's just by having it codified in policy, you can protect yourself from that kind of criticism of like, well, it's in policy. So it's a few bad actors who never get punished and get rewarded for doing it, who aren't following policy. It's not our agency's fault that this is happening. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like
That's
we
very
have it
fair.
codified that like you're not supposed to follow bad orders and that you will be culpable if you do. But our culturally, we don't really follow that, right?
Right.
So I don't know if that's making it in. That might be a little too political.
That's
but,
fair.
Like,
That, you know,
it
fair,
upsets me
valid.
personally.
We'll cut it out if we have to.
Or I
I'll
might
transition.
keep it in. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'll transition to that was a great scene. I liked that scene a lot. It was very
Yes, it was very good.
Yeah.
Good transition that
That's-
ends a different conversation and the conversation we're in currently.
good.
All right.
And that wraps up the episode.
Yeah. So, having talked through it, do you think this is better than the previous episode 17?
Yes, I do think episode 17 was kind of a weird one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my notes and it was very like I don't know, I can't pinpoint what it is about this episode that was better than the last. But because essentially it is the same kind of format where it's like scene, a lot of talking, and scene, a lot of talking, and scene. Like nothing happens necessarily, but it's a lot of backstory of what I already know.
Sure.
And
well,
so
we set up a sting operation that,
Yeah.
we've already seen unfold, but we do set up
Yeah.
a sting operation. There was another new death to add to the counter.
Yeah.
I don't have a counter, but there's another new death and murder investigation that answers what that girl was doing there in episode 14. There is some new stuff.
Yeah.
It-
But
if you-
I can't pinpoint why this episode was better than episode 17. Like, it is essentially the same kind of structure,
Right.
but I like this one infinitely better, I would say, compared to the last episode that we watched. And I can't really pinpoint why. I want to say it's because of the backstory that I got from a lot of different characters. I think maybe I don't know if this I'm gonna say this off the top of the head because I don't know if this is true or not, but I think it is how the episode ended, which is why episode 12 leaves a better taste in my mouth than episode 17. Because episode
That's
17
definitely part of it.
ended
with the
super
weasel.
shitty.
Yeah, with the weasel,
I did not
yeah.
like the end of that episode at all. It left a really bad taste.
It was literally only through talking through it that you realized you liked it better than the preceding episodes, because when you ended the episode, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably maybe that plays a part into it of why I like this episode better.
Yeah, the stuff that stands out. I'll get into why I rate it where I do.
Okay.
Which is that I think that they are both transitional episodes of shifting from what the show used to be into what it's going to be. 17 is that same way where it's kind of in its growing pains of like, oh, we have to pick up the slack of where it used to be and transition to where we're going for the rest of the season, right? When everybody came back and the show was canceled and they had 6 episodes to get through it, right? So they're both transitionary episodes, which is why they feel the same. But I like this one more because I think the Billy Zane stuff doesn't work in the other one.
Who's Billy Zane again?
Titanic Man with the eyelashes dating Audrey.
Right. Okay.
I think that's bad. That weasel scene in particular is bad. The bad scenes in this one don't last as long.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I generally like the content of this one more. I think that like the ending scene's good. It gives us the Ben Bobby stuff that I like that never came to fruition. Same with Audrey. I'm always gonna rate the Denise stuff highly because I love Denise as a character. I think she's brilliant. And like I love all of that, which is why I rate it so much higher than everyone else does, because like 11, 12, and 13 are all in the bottom 6. Like so we would you already know Denise's last episode is 13,
yes,
right? Because we've already seen past that and she was gone in episode 14. But like I love her as a character so much that like that's gonna elevate the episode above so that's kind of where it sits. Is
that's
like
fair.
Generally speaking, I like the content more. I think that like, the coincidence of going to Dead Dog Farm sucks, but he might have ended up there anyways with the photography. But like, I like that he got there and realized that there's a cocaine deal there first and kind of put together like, oh, whoever's framing me is here. And then he got the info of who was there. I think is really cool and interesting, like the mystery involved in setting up and stuff is good. And the James scenes that suck were very fast. I didn't have to sit there through them. But James isn't even in 17, but they replaced James with Billy Zane, and that's worse. So, that's why I rate it where I do.
That's fair. Okay.
Alrighty, so 2 final questions. As always. Okay, so we have a little bit of a big jump next time, which I'm worried about the next one, if I'm being honest.
I'm a little worried about the next one,
Not
too.
for you, to be clear. I'm worried that like people will be like, what the fuck are you talking about rating it so low? A little worried about that, if I'm being honest. But it being so big of a jump, and we're not saying it's forward or backwards on purpose, what do you think is the next thing you see with nothing to go on?
I think the next thing that I hope the next thing that I see, not to spoil it, but I really want the Coop backstory of why he's in Twin Peaks. I really want that. I hope that I get more backstory on Harry, and I want more backstory on Josie. Those 3 characters are the 3 that I really want to come up on the next episode here.
Okay. I will say that I personally think we're out of the weeds. I think that my delineation is probably season 2, episode 17 was when we kind of got out of the bad stuff, but like now, now we're through like a little bit the growing pains of each of those sections as well of transitioning out of those. So I think that we're in the good stuff now.
Okay.
Which should let you know that like 40 plus episodes of good episodes is a lot. The show was very good for a long time. Yeah. So that's that. Finally, what do you think Twin Peaks is about? I'm gonna end it every time, even if it's always the same answer. But like, feel free to dig into different aspects of it.
What did I say last time? I think I said aliens last time. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with like it's a show about aliens, but they don't know it's aliens yet. Like it's an alien show.
Okay, but you so season 2 has 22 episodes.
Yes.
We've seen up to 17 and they still don't know it's aliens, and you think it's an alien show?
There's like, a lot that goes on. Yes, no, there's a lot, like a lot happens within 2 episodes of this show. That's one thing that I've noticed with this like arc is that like yes, there are long storylines that like kind of drag on. Not drag, I don't know if that's the right word, but like underlie each episode, right?
They take their time, and then there's the ones that are like 3
and then
episodes,
there's the ones that
done.
are super fast and like they wrap up within like 2 or 3 episodes and they're never talked about again. And so I do think that is an alien show. They just haven't talked about the aliens yet. So.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's an alien show and they haven't talked about aliens yet.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, I think that ends it for us. So, thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe. I don't know.
Like,
how
comment,
to end
subscribe, and remember to eat your greens and
brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth. That's a good one.
Is that how we should end this? I think that's how we should end it. Is a reminder to brush your teeth.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah,
always remember,
like
brush your teeth. Only took us 8 episodes to get to, or 7 episodes to get to what our closing statement is. Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth.
About this, I'm like, this has to be part of it.
I'm recording now. Okay. The next episode I am very like excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited about because it is like a complete jump. Like I'm gonna use the phrase that I mentioned, Mac, just now, and it's like I'm expecting the episode to throw me out of my chair. Like I'm expecting a completely different show, essentially. Like I'm 100% like there is gonna be like I gotta throw out all my expectations of what I know of this show so far and just go in there with like a fresh mind of like
I think the phrase that made me ask you to record this was that what you said was you're expecting an entirely new show.
Yes, I'm expecting entirely new show. That's what I'm expecting with the next episode because like not to spoil, you gotta tune into the next episode. I gotta tune into the next episode of the podcast.
What is Twin Peaks? That's really what we're about to run into. Is like, is it still Twin Peaks when you go in far in any direction? Because like, if we look at how many episodes are in season 3, how many episodes are in season 1 through 2. We did start almost dead in the middle and are exploring back and forth. And this is our first jump in one direction or the other. So we started dead center in the middle of Twin Peaks. And then we're like, hey, we're gonna go. Is it still the same show?
Yeah. So I'm very excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I hope that Hawk is still in there.
Oh, maybe he's a new addition? Maybe he was like one of the latecomers to the police force?
Yeah. I hope I still see my
Yeah.
Hawk. Yeah.
That'll be interesting.